Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are in the world. It's that time of the year again. It's time for the AMS2 Community Cup for 2024. Season 3 of this championship stands to have grown something like a fungus, with two splits, both being broadcast live on the new official AMS2 Community Championship YouTube channel, as well as being broadcast split 2 specifically for this evening on MetzVR YouTube channel, all of which should be linked in the description below. However, split 1 tonight. You're stuck with me, Eike, and we are starting off with, I think, one of the most incredible little cars that you will find in AMS2. And, as always, it's the low-powered cars that we're going with tonight. Formula Juniors are the car of choice for, if I remember correctly, this is AMSU's pick. That once again should be in the description, but I have been focusing on other things. Give me just a second. No, doesn't say in the YouTube panel. It's fine. It's somewhere. We'll prepare that one next time. If you are in the chat, you are on my screen. Do say hi. Who is it that you're supporting? Which community are you from? And who are you hoping and praying is going to take the win this evening? Very difficult set of circumstances for the drivers in the grid tonight. You have joined us right at the very end of practice. There's going to be a very short break until qualifying starts. And then we will be away in quite some fashion. Good evening, Alexandra. You are supporting Raptor, where is Mr. Raptor in the proceedings at the moment? 5 seconds off the pace. I highly doubt that he's going to stay there. He is one of the faster drivers of any of the communities. Glad to see that flag. Dutch? I'm pretty sure Dutch. I could also be entirely wrong on that. About 5 minutes. Oh boy, okay. We have 5 minutes to kill. That's not a problem. Yes, Dutch, fantastic. I knew the flag. You always have that bit of doubt. I am, as I've said several times, when it comes to AMS2 Community Cup, my tongue is a Luddite English one that only understands so much. Thanatos, I hope I got your name right as well. Go 10 tenths, 100%. 10 tenths really have stepped up. Really, really happy to see them joining the AMS2 Community Cup for this 2024 season. I need to go like that, then return to the pit top box so I can monitor. So, where are we? Oh, Andy Moore seems to have dropped from the session. It is Jin first out. Second out, actually. Who is it? There was Tex that was first out, and Tinez from the NRT team community will be first out, running a beautiful Golf livery tonight on that woefully underpowered open wheel. 120 horsepower, I think these cars have, and we do say about how that's underpowered, etc., etc. My first car had a whole 30 horsepower. But warm-up laps. Let's take you for a quick guided tour of this Nurburgring GP loop coming out of the Mercedes arena for the first time. I'm going to get a track map up so that I don't get these corner names wrong. What I need to do is make sure that I don't get the one that doesn't count, because there's new names which I refuse to accept. Open this image. Yeah, we'll go with this one. So down to the Dunlop hairpin. Dunlop Keher. There we go. I can actually do German, believe it or not. Just not all that well. Up through the Michael Schumacher S's, it will be for Tinez on the first time of asking. And again, warm-up laps, and these tyres have practically no degradation as far as the tyres are concerned. So this is going to be burn the fuel off, get the tyres as hot as you can, and go until the qualifying is out. 13 minutes on the clock then. They've not even finished one lap as yet. So just to let you understand how spicy this evening is going to get. These cars do have very little power, so the aerodynamics, as little as they are, may well have one hell of an effect. Let's jump on board with the... That's not a good on-board view. Let's jump on board with the NRT car of Tinez across the line. He'll come on the first of his flying laps as we wait for the rest of the drivers to complete their out laps and get going on their fast laps. On the brakes into the Castrol hairpin, Castrol S in the Nordschleifer variant, of course, the Nordschleifer and the Schutzschleifer here in AMS2. Round for the first of the three corners of the Mercedes arena. Throttle on as early as you can, run out as wide as you dare. There will be corner cut penalties given out through the course of the race, running wide onto that AstroTurf. Braking late here. These cars are so tiny, there's so much room to manoeuvre, but you want to focus on getting your throttle down as early as you possibly can. Onto the RTL straight, coming down towards the Ford chicane for the first of Tinez's fast laps. He is gaining time on the car ahead of him. We'll have to see how much this impedes him. Again, not too much of an issue at the moment. Out to the Ford curve, nice and clean, using all of the curb for Tinez. This is the driving that we expect and are used to. On the brakes into the Dunlop chicane, Dunlop hairpin, ever so the same as GT3 cars, although the speed's a little bit less on this occasion. And then back up the hill again, getting the throttle down as early as you possibly can. These tiny cars using as much as they put much of the road to get the angle through the Schumacher S's. Big slide from Tinez. He's up in the aerodynamic effect of the car ahead. Is going to let off. Unfortunately, he comes down towards Kuma Curve, the famous tyre brand most known for their drift tyres, and then into Warsteiner. We refuse to call this Bitkurve. No, that's not allowed. Into the name that I enjoy saying most, Hatzenbach, is this right-hand kink, where we will see at least a couple of attempts at positions being made. You can see the overspeed that Tinez has here up in the draft. Lots of blue times coming up. Obviously, first time out, we're using the Veedol variant of the chicane, so these poor 120 horsepower little formula cars don't have to go from basically 0 miles per hour through the Coca-Cola curve at turn 16, and that is a full lap of the Nurburgring GP loop. Let me get there now. Back to trackside cars. Thankfully, the car behind pulling over a bit. Big lock up for Tinez there. Let's see where the auto broadcaster wants us to go. That wasn't, unfortunately, a valid lap. Raptor having a bit of an issue. Jin also struggling, leaving a bit of space for everyone. That's going to be a bit of a cool down lap for him. First of the drivers to set the fastest lap on their first time round. Thankfully, this is going to be a pretty easy time of it, trying to piece together these lap times. And it's Blue Fear from 10 tenths, who takes provisional pole position in the first round of laps. I believe that we're going to be seeing quite a few more coming through in the near future. Racilla for the AMS unofficial team has taken the second place on the first row, and I'm going to need to find, because I do know where Tex is from. He's from Curb Clippers. Not surprising to see Curb Clippers up there. Surprising to see Curb Clippers not at the top of the timing screens. But something that we were with. Curb Clippers were nigh on unstoppable last season when we last visited the AMS2 CC. But great to see 10 tenths first out the gate, getting their laps together and getting a reasonable time in for their first time out. That's a really, really good banker lap, and I would be surprised if Blue Fear doesn't improve on that as the tyres start to get into their window. Andy Moore comes across the line to start a new fast lap. Carriazeda is circulating, just come out onto a new fast lap. 6 seconds off the pace at the moment, but again, running on your own is not a sensible game plan when it comes to these cars. You want to have the aerodynamic effect of the car ahead of you. Only on the straights though, not in the corners. We don't want the vacuum of the car ahead dragging you wide, but there's so little horsepower for these cars to play with, and the open cockpits as well really causing issues for these drivers. Pete M for MVRC goes to the top of the timing screens. Blue Fear has not set a better time as yet and drops to third with Michel Giamoroni. There we go. I can do words. Taking the outside of that first row for the time being, at least. Couple of drivers still not setting times, but that's absolutely fine. Come on, Blue. I tell you what, there's a lot of support for 10T here. Let's... yeah, that's disabled at the moment. Let's see how Blue Fear is faring. Acertech SimSport sponsorship on the side. That's a name that I recognise and am well familiar with. Looked at their wheels more than once to try and work out which wheel and wheelbase and kit I want to go and buy. How is Blue doing? He's down on the... There he is. No pressure. Yeah, no pressure. He's down in the first sector by a couple of tenths. Second sector down as well. So this could be a good setup for the next lap. Let's see if there's any more going on at the moment. It seems as though everybody has set their... set some reasonable lap times in this early stage. While I have you all here, by the way, sound all okay for everybody? Carriazeda with an invalid lap last time around. Looks like everybody... Perfect. Thank you very much, Thanatos. I will pronounce your name properly. Unfortunately, don't get the live splits that we get from some other sims, so having to work off some very questionable means of finding out who's doing what as far as this session is concerned. Massive slide by Blue Fear there. If that is the fastest way out of the Mercedes arena, I'll be very surprised. I don't think that's going to be a valid lap for much longer. But I think style over speed, absolutely. And with these massive, tall, skinny tyres and the beautiful independent suspension that looks absolutely gorgeous in the AMS2 Madness engine, it's fantastic to see the way that the cars behave. Actually, that's something that I did mean to do prior to the stream. Where's the button gone? It's that one, and then... Not that one. Oh, not that one. Sorry for the seasickness. Doesn't appear to be wanting to work. How is Bluefear doing? Now that we've been watching him for a while, even slower again. It looks as though it might be an opportunity now to drop into the pits, take some fresh rubber onto those ever so slightly treaded tyres, and go again with a fresh set of rubber. What else do we have going on up and down the field? Raptor is now got as far as 4.8 seconds off the back of the lead. That's not a problem. You don't get any points, as far as I know, for qualifying. It's all about what happens in the race. The springs are hypnotic. I really wish that I could get a perspective on them. Is it this one, maybe? No. There's buttons here around here somewhere that move the camera around. No, I'm sure it's that one. No, it's not working. Oh well. Raptor at the moment is 21st and second from last if we ignore myself. At the moment. No, Raptor is here. There we go. Unfortunately, the tower that we were using last time, not exactly useful in this instance. 1 minute 41 left. I don't think Raptor's going to be going again, unfortunately. Who else is on a lap? Oh, it is Michel Giamaroni, who has set the fastest first sector, has matched the first sector again as he comes out on the run down towards Dunlop Hairpin. Oh yeah, no, watching two streams is always going to be confusing. Absolutely. Hopefully, you're getting double the entertainment, though. Big slide for Michel Giamaroni. I'm going to practice it. I'm going to try and practice it. I'm going to get it in the end. But up the hill towards the Schumacher S's, he will break the second split line, hopefully, when he comes out of Warsteiner. Yes, what have I told you about multitasking? Yes, we don't do multitasking. Multitasking is for people who don't enjoy the things that they're watching. Sector 2 for the second place driver. He's coming up to the split now on the back straight. It's a 1027, so he's not going to improve unless it's a massive improvement for the time. I don't think that was Giamaroni back into the pits. Bluefear will be able to take one more stab at that pole lap. He's had the... There you go. Raptranel, 20th there. He's got the opportunity. He's made it by the skin of his teeth. He's got enough wait time to be able to complete this lap. If he can string it all together, this may not be over yet for 10 tenths. By the way, what a community name as well. 10 tenths. We love that. You can stick around. Comes down towards the... closing at the first sector. He's slow again, but it's only a couple of tenths off. There's plenty of lap time left in this the lap there, although it's going to be tight. It's him and Andy Moore. Where's Andy in the lap? Looks like he's just coming out of Warsteiner through Hatzenbach. I take it that's no more. Andy Moore has done a faster first kept catches another victim, and it will be no more than 4th for Andy Moore for NRT. Blue Fear coming out of the Kumo curve through Varsteiner, trying to get his throttle down as quickly and early as he can. He's coming up towards the split now. It's not as quick as he could have been, but his final split could also be just as quick as the rest. Where is Tex in the scheme of things? He's done a faster first sector, very slow second sector. I don't think this is going to be any faster, but it will be Blue Fear coming around the final corner. A beautiful drift for the cameras. Who's told him that he's on camera for the closing moments of the qualifying? Thank you very much, AMS, for giving us a really terrible camera angle. Across the line, he will stay 3rd, but I believe... no, that wasn't an improvement. So it will be Pete M for MVRC that will start the first round of the MS2CC for 2024 in pole position. Michele Giamoroni will start, yep, of course they're Italian, will start alongside PM in 2nd. Blue Fear will start the 2nd row for 10 tenths. A brilliant start for Blue Fear there, and a excellent entry for 10 tenths in the annals of AMS2CC history. Andy Moore for NRT will start from 4th. 5th will be Zolfo D for RRC, the first driver to have a teammate in this lead battle. Tex for Curb Clippers will start from 6th. Statue for SSR will start from... there we go, now we get to see a full list. Statues to 1232 will start from 7th. Johnny B from Curb Clippers, again starting just behind his teammate on the grid in 8th position. SRGP for Los Archer will start from 9th. Tinez in 10th. Racilla 11th for AMSU. Alongside... hey Kiki. Alongside Frano for AMSU as well. Irwin running as an independent this time, so plenty of opportunity to take points away from the bigger groups ahead of him. Linus Falamento for 10 tenths will start from 14th from Belgium, or yes, Belgium. Really good to see, yeah, because there's a German flag underneath there. I'm not blind, I swear. Carapau in 15th for SRGP. Chrissy H will start for in 16th as an independent. Cephalor will start for SSR in 17th. Karazada for MVRC in 18th. Jin will start 19th for Noobs Racing. Raptor NL will start 20th, so plenty of work for Raptor to do over the course of the next 55 minutes. Nonirat will start 21st for the Noobs team, and the host for tonight, and the man who we have to thank for the server running as smoothly as it has done so far, is Roy33NL, who will be starting 22nd. A fully stacked race. There will be no warm-up lap. There will be no quarter given as we come down towards turn 1 for the first time of asking. And we ask for nothing more than that. 2 drivers, and myself actually. I can't ready up. Oh well. Give us a moment while we have to mess around with the old auto broadcaster. And we are away. Manual starts for everybody, and H shifters at the ready as well. It's a beautiful start for Frano for the MSU team, coming all the way up from what looks like 18th or 16th or so on the grid. He's up in the top 5. Bit of a wobble there for Frano there. But we've gotten through turn 1 cleanly. They've had a prologue and a lot of practice to be able to get this together. But it is Carapau in 9th, fighting over 9th position. Is a big lockup and a collision on the second corner of the Mercedes arena. Carapau getting right up the inside there. Really unfortunate for them, but will absolutely get that going. It's Curb Clippers just outside the top 10. Give me back text. There we go. who's got the 2 cars behind of Tinez and Jin. No, yep, that is correct. Who fall into line a little bit. So finally we get some semblance of a train here, but still Jin and Erwin fighting over that 13th position. They will be, I think Erwin will have to concede that going through the Dunlop hairpin. Let's see where the fights are. Nonirat at the back of the field. Lots more work now for the car in 20th position to do. That's not the back of the field, though. It looks as though Roy 33NL has got involved in something there as Carapau as well. There we go. Some of the camera angles in this are just interesting. Curb clippers to the top. I was not expecting that so early in this race, but Johnny B with a massive move up the grid from 8th at the starting line to 1st already. Michel Jeremore going for the inside line through the Veedol chicane, but is going to keep it on the track, but now to the outside. Johnny B has possibly the preferred line coming out onto the start-finish line for the first time of asking. That is 1 lap completed of this race. And we've got 52 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. Thank you, AMS2, for giving us all the interesting camera angles. Johnny B loses out to the lead, but it's the weirdest draft trains that come down in towards turn 1. Johnny B loses the lead, possibly loses 3rd on the entry as Statue gets up the inside. But Johnny can get it back up the inside of the Mercedes arena. This is going to... They need to organise themselves pretty quickly here. One of them's going to need to give that up. Otherwise, there's a possibility that Giromone is going to be able to run away with that lead. Johnny B gets to the inside and to the head of the pack. But now he's going to have... the aerodynamic effect slowing him down. It's going to be a big look up the inside from Pete M. Started pole, has dropped down to 3rd, now trying to make his way back up with a beautiful livery for MVRC there. Massive slides going on as these drivers work tooth and nail to get every last bit of grip that they can out of what are, to all intents and purposes, motorbike tyres at this point. What does the auto director think that we should be looking at? Let's have a look at Tech, Cephalor and Tinez still attached by a fairly short string, and it's Jin up the backside as well, possibly avoiding a touch. Oh, and that is Erwin. Oh, no, it's not Erwin. That's Statue that's fallen to the back of the field. Statue was fighting for the lead. It's going to be a lot of work now to get back to that top fight and just leave space for Raptonel up the inside. Isn't it typical? The second that I look away is the second that everything changes. Jin looking up the inside of Tinez is not going to get the drive and is going to lose out the position on the back straight down through Varsteiner. Good grief, where on earth do you look? On this absolutely stacked field as well. Where does the auto broadcaster think we should go? Why do you want me to go to the back of the field? Come on. Every now and then it gets ever so slightly confused and it gets very boring. Why are you... No. It's defaulting to 10. Let's see what happens if we do 20. What do you do now then? No, you still want to look at Nonirat. As you can probably tell, we're kind of experimenting with the AMS2 auto broadcaster at the moment. Let me just try and do this a bit manually and see if there's anything that we can see. There's Chris H taking a very tight line through turn 1. Looks as though he's lost a position to Karazada, but may have the drive on the exit here. It's just trying so hard to get the most from those tyres. It's a very wide line through from Karazada there. That's not going to give him the best drive, and here is the opportunity perhaps for Chris H to get that position back. Again, they can see these... They need to organise themselves. This is like MX5 racing. All the time they're fighting, that train up ahead is just getting away ever so slightly. He's going to have the over-under, but can he do anything about it? As they come down towards the Dunlop hairpin, he's going to fall back in line. Again, that aerodynamic effect is so important with these cars being so underpowered compared to where they should be. Why are you... No, over here. Zolfo D then, finally, you may have actually worked out that we want to look at the fights that are close. There we go. The fight behind with Andy Moore and Tex is the place where we want to be looking. These guys all caught up in one heck of a battle. Moser Racing sponsorship just behind the front wheel there as well for Andy Moore and the NRT team. That's great to see. Oh, and Johnny B fallen back to third. PM for whatever mistake or opportunity that caused him to fall back. He's now starting to regain his pace. Michel Giamaroni. Maroni. I have to stick with Giamaroni, unfortunately. Has suddenly got a second lead, and that's where the aerodynamic effect starts to drop off. These guys are going to have to work together to try and get that lead back. But all different teams. The first of the drivers who actually has some level of support here is actually the fourth place car of Frano, who has his teammate Racer right behind him, able to back him up, and those two should be able to work together very, very well. It's a big look up the inside for Johnny B. It's going to be a tight angle for Peter, man. That's going to be just the ticket. Hopefully Johnny B now can lead by example, and the two of them together can work to catch Michel Giamaroni at the top of the timing screens. No, he gets it very wrong. He's going to take a big trip through the kitty litter. No ground effect or low bodywork to have to worry about here. These are practically bathtubs with engines attached. Down to the fight just outside the top 5, as per usual. This is where the fights tend to get rather desperate. SRGP for Loz Archer trying to get very desperate on the defensive with two cars behind. Tex from Curb Clippers, another driver who's absolutely ferocious and a massive talent as well. Through the Schumacher S's, it's going to be Tex to the inside, but that's going to be the outside for the second time of asking. Loz able to just about keep the car ahead, but another look up into Kumo now. No, and meanwhile Andy Moore, I tell you what, let's go. No, that's not on board, is it? Look at this fight for the two ahead, and just listen to these hairdryer engines. Which apparently it really doesn't want to show the stereo effect of them. Whatever. But it's so important for these drivers to be up close to each other. This is the best opportunity that Andy Moore's going to have. Comes out onto the back straight. He's close as you like. He's in the in the draft now. Look at that. The two cars basically as one. 8 wheels as they come down towards turn 1, and it's going to be Andy Moore that has the first look, but it's a big lock up from Tex. Sideways through the first hairpin, but it looks as though he might have the position done. It's into turn 1. It's now on Loz to try and get the position back. The onboard audio is so weak. God damn it. But that is, for the time being, position net positive for Tex in 7th position, and only 1 place lost over the course of this race now. Now what can Andy Moore do once again as the stack has reshuffled? Can Andy do something about Loz as well in the SRGP car? looks as though they're fairly static as far as the positions are concerned. Curb clipper, Mr. Tex took the wide line. Loz was alongside for just a second, but then the superior traction in the outside line up on the curbs, ironically, gave Tex the traction. He's going to go defensive again, side by side. They're going to come down in towards Kuma Curve, but Loz thinks better of that decision. Tex gets it wrong on the defensive line, and that is going to be the position lost once again. These cars are so incredibly difficult to drive, and Moore is going to make the position as well. They're side by side coming up through Hudson Buck, and now who is that's falling back? Zolfo D has had a nightmare. Rejoining as they come down towards the final position. Cephalor with Irwin in 12th and 13th was able to defend the position, but that was a very, very close fight for just a second back to this fight. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and I believe that statue in 11th now in this fight, and just behind them, lurking. Oh no, it gets even worse. That's a big look up the inside, and Tex gets it ever so slightly wrong, and that is an NRT car of Tinez getting it wrong as well. What had been a very, very competent and confident race ends in a very interesting lockup. I dare say someone had their brake bias back a little bit too far. But still, this fight over 7th, it's not really a fight over 7th. Where's Loz in all of this? Stretching out the lead ever so slightly. I think Loz has escaped this fight for now. It's Tex, Zolfo, and Andy Moore who are the main combatants. Tex takes a really, really wide line through the Ford chicane, but now it's going to be a tight line for the exit. Can he get the throttle down for Zolfo to have a look? Zolfo to the outside. That's the joy of having thin, small cars, ladies and gents. You think there's a gap there. There is a gap there. You can make the gap. That's a big look up the inside for Zolfo D. Is he going to have the traction off the corner, though? Once again, Tex using that curb clippers car to great effect on the exit of the Dunlop hairpin. And through the Schumacher S's is able to defend once again. Is it going to be a look up the inside? No, it's not. This fight seems to have separated out a bit. Let me just have a quick look further up. I believe there's a half-second gap between Frano and Johnny B. That AMS2 partnership working incredibly well to allow Frano to look towards getting a potential podium position. However, there's also a potential fight over the lead of the race. Points half a second sounds like a lot, but it's not in these tiny, tiny cars. We're coming back onto the start-finish straight for the, I believe, 4th time of asking. Let me just... No, I've got... Oh, no, hang on. Let me have a look here. 6th time of asking. There we go. And that's how it... that's how it goes. It's a very wide moment for Michel Gironi. This could be the opportunity for PM to strike. MVRC versus RRC for the overall lead position here. PM looks as though he's got the tyres a little bit more underneath him now than perhaps at the start of the race, and perhaps as Michel Gironi has as well. As I have to take a breath. I'm sorry, I'm only human. I have lungs. Oh, good grief. Outside of the top 10 now. Blue Fear with an awful start to the race. Going to have a lot of opportunity to make more positions. That's a big look up the inside. Against the now 16th position. Driver of... what happened there for Raptor? He's been spun round. Linus getting up the... looking around the outside. And I believe... that's going to be... Oh, what happened to Jin there? That's an interesting tyre issue. That was, I dare say, not driver instigated, let's say. So perhaps the drivers again trying to ask a little bit too much of these tyres at this point. Tex has fallen behind Lars Archer and Andy Moore. Through the Schumacher S's they come, side by side. Space is only just given, for goodness sake, guys. Just because you have small cars doesn't mean you have to go 3 wide, but they almost take the opportunity. Andy Moore, I believe, has got this 6th position quite secure now as best of the rest outside of the AMSU and the podium positions. But Tex has now made that position past Statue 1232 stick. And possibly can focus forward? No, because the aero effect obviously comes back, and we are back to an 8-car long train. With Andy Moore looking behind going, oh, please don't attack, guys. I've only just gotten some clear air through my radiators. Thanks, that's still an absolutely fantastic image, but across the line, again, it seems as though there's a lot of chopping and changing over the course of a lap, but Zolfo D into the pits. This is not going to be anywhere near ideal. There is not a mandatory stop as far as I've been told, so this is just time lost now for the RRC driver. Is that tyres? Is that damage? I think there's been some damage on that car. That is a fairly long hold. Jin into the pits as well. And this is going to be painful for both of these drivers. That is tyres and fuel. I don't think that Jin is going to come down from that position. Let's see where the auto broadcaster takes us. Tex to 6th position ahead of Andy Moore. There's been some kind of altercation through the Mercedes arena. Andy Moore's not quite getting that drive off the corner, but the inside and a bit of aerodynamic effect is going to hold him to the outside. Little bit of a bump from Statue. That's totally understandable in these frankly terrifying cars. But that is Tex out of that 7th position, but not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination. They have all come across the start-finish line in the order that they started for the past couple of laps now. Oh, PM is getting mighty, mighty close, though. Tex might possibly get this on the outside. He's been using the outside line to fantastic effect throughout the course of this race, mainly out of the Dunlop hairpin, but let's see if he can do it out of Varsteiner as well. No, the track does not quite come to him enough that he can make it work, but we are going to be 2 and 3 wide coming in towards the Veedol chicane for, what, the 5th time? Why would you want to watch Formula 1 when racing like this exists? Good grief. Where is there anything else going on that we need to be aware of? No, it's not. It's just this 4-car train across the line. This time, Statue has made 7th position out of the fight, and it's only the NRT car of Andy Moore that has yet to fall to the SSR driver. Linus Falamento, having had an incident with Raptor NL, now hunting for more positions. I must admit, I feel that pain as far as having an incident trying to get back up to the grid to where you think you should be. Actually had it on Sunday. Thankfully, the stewards ruled it as no further action or a racing incident because, you know, brakes. Tinez at the back of what looks to be a 3-car train. Irwin in the independent car leading. Thank you, Alexandra. Yeah, appreciate it. I've been doing this for almost a decade. And the only reason why I stopped is so that I could focus on my actual racing. So yeah, appreciate it nonetheless. But I'm really, really unfortunate that Raptor's having such a nightmarish evening. I do hope that there is some kind of steward's inquiry after the race for that brutal attack that was made against Raptor in the middle stages of this race. Approaching halfway now, and it's going to get even more spicy as we come to these closing stages. I don't think there's anything else for me to pay attention to at the moment. No, we're good, we're good, we're good. We are handy. That means I can focus on this and focus on the track as P-Tem's now less than 3/10 away. He's got the aerodynamic effect down the start-finish straight. He's got the overspeed. He's on the racing line. Michel? I think it's Michel. Has to go defensive. Does Giamore? It's going to be the over-under. He's going to attempt. He's got the outside for the Mercedes Arena now. Is it going to be a double cut back to the inside? Michel Giamore is not able to put the throttle down. It's a braking manoeuvre. What a manoeuvre by PM for MVRC. That was 1, 2, 3 corners before he could really cement that position. And even then, the aerodynamic effect, the clean air that he's now got running over the car is slowing him down. Big kick of oversteer now on board with Giamore. What is that little Formula engine doing against the aerodynamic effect of the 100-ish miles per hour that they get to? It's a big look up the inside. PM's not going to bother about defending. He just wants that racing line to be able to stop. Look at the beautiful car control and four-wheel drift from PM. That's an incredibly held slide through the Schumacher S's 2 times four-wheel drift, please and thank you on your order forms. And they will run line astern as they were into Kumo once again. MVRC to the top then, RRC to the second position for only the first time in this race. What a debut for RRC as well, whose acronyms I actually don't know. Where are we going? Right. What does the auto broadcaster want us to look at? It's, of course, the fight over 6th position. Tex has made it past Statue and Andy Moore out of Warsteiner. They will come through, I keep on wanting to call it Blanchemont. It's Huxenbach. Up towards the Veedol chicane. It's a big look from Statue, but they're going to be too wide going through there. Andy's going to give best to Tex for the time being. That is curb clippers to 6th position. But now it's... Oh, that's a pit stop. Who is that that's into the pits? That's Loz Archer into the pits. For SRGP, onto the pit limiter. What is causing Loz to take a pit stop? This is fuel. They do not have enough fuel to get to the end. Loz perhaps trying to play the strategy and get the clear air to be able to run his race, but that means it's not all over for Raptor. Raptor is yet. Loz still in the pits. Raptor's going to make positions on this occasion. No matter how you slice it, that's the position lost. Raptor up to 17th position. So it's not all over yet. Strategy can still play a massive role here. Beautiful sweep across the inside. We love to see the real-life braking markers and lines being used, Raptor. Very, very nice indeed. We appreciate that. Back to this fight over 7th position, which could be an even tighter fight than we thought even in the first place, because a couple of the drivers that were involved in this fight have now dipped out of this fight to find some clear air. These guys will be holding each other up. Meanwhile, the likes of Raptor, Blue Fear, Loz, Nonny Rat, they're all running in relatively clear air and able to make the most of the, well, mass that they've acquired during their pit stop. I'm surprised they're taking on tyres. I wonder if that's just a visual bug But this all seems to have settled down ever so slightly. Yeah, Tex seems to be the one ever so slightly on the move. But Statue as well having a massive incident earlier in the race. He was very much in the leading pack and wants to get back there. He could use the strategy. Oh, Andy Moore's had a bit of a poor exit through the Veedol chicane. It's a big look up the inside. It's a big look up the inside for Statue. That's the position gone. Tex into the pits. Erwin into the pits. Tinez, I believe, yeah, also into the pits. Cafalor is going to gain a load of positions in the short term. Has he been into the pits yet? Do I have that statistic? I don't think I do. That's unfortunate. I'll see if I can get that. But it's all chopping and changing through this definite pit window now. A lot of drivers will be wanting to run this race half and half. There's no real point, unless you were stuck in traffic, to running anything more critical than that. However, with all of that said and done, Johnny B has got an 8-second deficit to the cars ahead. I dare say it might be worth him holding out as long as he can to try and make that pit as short as possible. How many cars are going to fit into that 8-second gap between the leaders now? 0.2 of a second separates the two as they come towards Kumo for the 11th time. I dare say this may be Jim Orney using PM to save some fuel, keep the car in the operating window, but it is a very good drive off of Varsteiner there. Two cars come down as one. One takes a tight line, one takes a wide line. Little bit of fresh air to go into that radiator at the front of the nose cone there. But it looks as though these guys are just giving each other light taps at the moment, I would suggest. They're not overly... here we go. There's the aerodynamic effect as they come across the line. This could be Jim Orney to the lead again, but he's on the inside line in towards turn one. He's going to have to overslow the car or take it wide. He chooses to take it wide, keeps it in between the white lines this time. But again, it's going to be Pete M to the outside. We know that he's good through here, but can he get the traction on the AstroTurf? Not at the moment, he can't. He's big sideways wiggle as he tries to turn in. But once again, Jim Orney to the lead, and cars a lap down, just getting out of the way there. Totally understandable. These guys, remember, some of these guys may well have pitted already. That was Roy, wasn't it? Yeah. So Roy is the first car to be lapped, but again, he will have already served his pit stop, unfortunately. Where's the pit count? Oh, so I do have a pit counter, it's just not working. Thanks, game. Anyway. What else is there going on up and down the field? Is there anything else that we need to be looking at? It's a very difficult pit exit for Andy Moore and Blue Fear ahead of Andy Moore. Now that's an interesting change of position. Tex has got a few seconds here, but this is where we have to be a little unfortunate to say, unfortunately, AMS2, we get this bug, a carryover from this engine from Project Cars 2, where sometimes the cars float. There's lots of jokes that can be made here. However, we won't make them today. Unfortunately, the racing is just a little bit too good for us to be able to really pay too much attention. All of a sudden, there's a very interesting gap. Very interesting thing that I've just noticed is that Raptor NL has pulled ahead of Loz Archer. Loz, who was involved very, very heavily in that battle over 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and, you know, the rest of the top 15. No, it never stops being funny. Hopefully there's going to be no more tyre wear issues for Loz Archer, since he's not using it. Yep. Jimmeroni into the pits. So he is taking his opportunity to drop into the pits. We're actually going to stick with him for just a second because there's a question over where he's going to come out. Jimmeroni is was the incumbent leader, but who is going to? Hold on a second. Into the pits. Carapoo is going to take it. We know that Raptor NL has dropped into the pits, but Jimmeroni still on the jacks. Is Raptor NL going to take the overall lead? He's on his own. He's going to come through to the pit lane. He takes Jimmeroni. Now, assuming... Why are they flying? Yeah, unfortunately, that's a bug that comes from Project Cars 2 days. That's how long it's been. Raptor NL ahead of the incumbent leader. Alexandra, I don't suppose you happen to be within shouting distance of Raptor at the moment. Because I have a question for him. If he's around, it would be most appreciated. But this has suddenly become a very, very interesting race if what I think has happened has happened. As Statue is yet to pit, Racile is yet to pit. All of the leaders, apart from Raptor NL, who is the real question mark here. Because we know Raptor was in the pits reasonably early. But there's a possibility that Raptor NL just took the overall lead. PM into the pits now. Here we go. This is going to be the real question. It runs wide out of Kumo. PM's in the pit. Statue, Freno. They're all running out of fuel now. Johnny B through the pits as well. Racilla is pushing it for that one extra lap. He does not want to be carrying any more fuel than he has to. Carapo into the pits as well. Not allowed to disturb. That's totally understandable. There is a very distinct possibility, though, that Raptor NL could be taking the overall lead. We know that PM is rolling. PM is rolling. But does he have the pace to be able to get to the end of the pit lane? It's all gone wrong, and Raptor NL takes the overall lead of the race by about a second and a half. Racilla, the last... and just celebrates by overcooking it into turn one. I respect the hustle. Loses out, I believe, to Johnny B there, but PM up the inside as well. This could still be a podium for RPM if he can hold it all together in these closing stages of the race. It's really unfortunate that I'm so sorry. I hope that you didn't disturb him, and I hope that he hasn't been disturbed by my getting very excited by a strategy win. So Razilla leading the for the AMSU team. 47-second delta to the rest of the field. I dare say we may see a Razilla into the pits on this lap. But Raptor NL 13 positions gained over the course of this race, and if he doesn't have to pit again, that is a legitimate position for him. The other driver who matches that is this man, Zolfo D for RRC. 13 positions also at the moment. There is still more time left in this race, and everybody's got their pit stops served. They have the fuel to the end. Raptor NL may well have played an absolute blinder and brought himself into play just by being able to run hot laps while everybody else fought. Let's wait for the timing screens to work out what they want to do. Give us a moment. Unfortunately, Racilla going into the pits appears to have messed everything up. Oh, and Jin has disconnected. Oh, it wasn't to be. Raptor NL into the pits. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Oh, so that earlier pit stop must have been for damage then. No one disturbed him. Fantastic. Good to hear. So that mistake was all on his own. That's a real shame. Johnny B is coming out of this with the overall lead. He's under pressure now from PM. Racezilla is out of the pits in third position. Curb Clippers, MVRC, AMSU, RRC. The first, again, we come back to this team play. This is a team championship. These guys don't get points for individual drivers, as far as I remember. Jay will have to confirm that later. It's all about the teams. It's all about the communities. The only driver at the moment who has any kind of backup is Racezilla in that third position, with Frano, who is significantly quicker than the drivers ahead. In fact, it is Frano who set the fastest final sector of the race so far and is matching those times as well. This could be an AMSU podium as yet. PM is too close to be able to argue too hard with Johnny B here. Once again, we go back to this fight over 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th for the time being. Texas let Irwin pass. It looks, I dare say, that may have been an unfairly gained position, and Texas being the honourable man that we know he is, and offering the position back to Irwin in the independents. PM putting as much pressure as he can on the Curb Clippers driver of Johnny B. Johnny B's not quite got the exit that he wanted, and of course we look through the floor. Thank you very much, AMS2. Side by side they come through Blanchimont, through Hudson back, and it is Pete M who exits with the overall lead. So Pete M doing all of the work needed to secure that work. Raptor NL back to 18th position, unfortunately. But now they get onto the start-finish straight. This is a really, really good practice for the end of the race. Looks as though Johnny B's pulled out a little bit too early there to get the overspeed, but on the brakes they both go very, very deep. It could be a big over and under again, but it's going to be back to the lead for PM, losing the position within that sector. Looks like Zolfo D is up 14 positions. I think it was Zolfo that had a massive climb up the field from the start. Beautiful clutch dump, and was able to get it done in the end. Very, very messy driving from the two drivers at the top of the field. Lots and lots of sideways action going on, but that's what we're here for. This is why we love these small engined Formula cars. It's a big look up the outside for Tex. The other of the Curb Clippers cars, trying to get back those two positions that he's lost over the course of the race. But But it looks as though I don't quite like what's happening there. Let me hold on. Can I put it down to 1? What do you think? What do you think now? There we go. So 15th and 16th, Carapau and Carazada, SRGP and the MVRC cars fighting over 15th and 16th. Still points worth fighting over here. But this fight for the lead is the real difficult. Oh, Zolfo D's had a mistake. As much as we love donuts, we normally save them for the end of the race. He's going to roll onto the racing line. He's got the space to be able to do it, but that is a really unfortunate mistake for him. That'll push him right out of that fight into 13th position, possibly not quite into the fight that we were watching between with Cephalor, Carapau and Carazada. But there's going to be some heat in those tyres that needs dissipating over the next few corners, as well as Zolfo does the iRacing route and drives on the grass to try and cool his tyres down. Here we go again then. PM on the defensive from Johnny B. Johnny B can't get the overlap at the moment. But these two are so closely matched in pace. Beautiful livery turned out on the Curb Clippers car. By the way, I love the double finish on the engine cover. Difficult fight here to try and work out who's got the upper hand. It looks as though both of them are equally paced. 1 second. Best lap 2:21.5, 2:22.6 for Johnny B. So it looks as though PM might have the upper hand as far as pace is concerned, but not when you're being hunted by a Curb Clippers car. Johnny B will be very happy to see that there's only one car ahead of him. What else is going on up and down the field? I don't think that we're going to have... The auto directory is not going to be directing us away from this lead fight in the slightest. 3/10 is where these guys are operating in. No brake lights as well. Let's be very clear. Let's go onto the roof camera and see who's got the drive. Pretty equal here. In towards the Veedol chicane. And another really big lag. Thank you, game. We love it when technical issues occur. Both using incredibly similar lines, but it looks as though Johnny B's just able to hold it a little bit tighter than PM in the lead of the race. Uno momento. You're disabled. What are you doing? Enabled. There we go. Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure. Oh, it's a big look up the inside for Johnny B. That's going to have given the outside for the exit of the Mercedes arena. But it doesn't matter because he's got the entire car ahead as they leave the arena. He's going to take a quick bump over the grass. That'll keep the tyres cool, I'm sure. Pulls across in front, taps on the brakes. There's always a risk when you do that you're going to have issues with the car behind you rear-ending you. Doesn't matter how little these cars are, there is always an aerodynamic effect, and with the tiny engines that these cars have, it's amplified even more. But it is Curb Clippers once again to the top of the timing screens. Feels like we've heard this before, but they are in competition this time with MVRC, and AMSU still only 6 seconds off the back of the field there, off the back of this fight. If these two start fighting extremely heavily, they could have a serious issue come the end of the race in 9 minutes time. It's going to be Johnny B going defensive. You're never going to get a position through Kumo anyway, so a little bit of empty air being defended there. PM, however, gets the drive off the exit. Come on. There we go. You'll take a chase camera for now, sorry. Nah, the chase camera's actually really good. Gets to the inside and gets the position done. Again, as they come round the final corner, it looks as though PM's got it where it counts to be in front when they get to the checkered flag. That's the main thing. It doesn't matter how often you lead through the lap. It's all about getting this point just here where they go across the line for the 19th time of asking, and it's going to be another half look for Johnny B and the Curb Clippers car. Blue Fear into the pits. Now, that's an interesting one. Very, very late to be looking at pitting. That can only require a little bit of fuel. Tex is still in a fight amongst Andy Moore, Frano for the AMSU drivers, who didn't actually lose that much when they took a pit stop as well, but could possibly be on the downturn if Tex and Moore can get their act together. See this? See, this is the problem with being on the edge of your seat for 45 minutes, is you tend to forget to breathe. Thankfully, yawning's part of the trick. It's going to be another letting them pass for Tex. Andy Moore will take that 8th position, thank you very much. And I wonder if they're both looking to work together to get towards Frano. I was going to say, where are the fights now? It's Raptor NL hunting Linus Falamento, the car that put him around earlier in the race. Is there any bad blood between Raptor and Linus at this point in the race? He's keeping it all together, is Raptor. I'm going to turn the onboard I'm going to turn the onboard volume up higher for the next session. That's for sure. Looks as though there's a lot of sliding from the Falamento car for 10/10ths. Raptor's just keeping it all under wraps at the moment. He's doing everything that he needs to do to look after the tyres, and it's only one opportunity that he needs to get past the 10/10ths car. Meanwhile, this fight at the head of the field, closest one we have at the moment, apparently, according to the auto director at least. I'm inclined to agree. I'm not overly inclined to agree. Yeah, you are enabled. Come on. As I say, technology, isn't it fun? Just put that here. Right, so we have enabled. There we go. Now you start working. But Frano at the lead of this battle. Yet again, it's Statue, Andy Moore and Frano that are stuck together fairly comprehensively. The gap has eked out a little bit, but not all that much, and these guys are probably just working with operating room as well as having operating room to the ground. I'm sorry, the jokes just write themselves, man. Oh, this is getting spicy for 5th position now. Erwin for the Independents, looking to take points and prizes, perhaps, off of the communities in this session. Here we go. And that all looks fairly safe at the moment. Oh, this is all getting very, very, very spicy as we come down towards the closing minutes. I believe that was a little bit of a rub on the bodywork of Johnny B. He's looking up the inside yet again. It's a big slide from Pete M. As the tyres and fuel start to run out, it's going to be a cutback on this occasion. Johnny B gets the car straightened. The gap closes. He's going to look to the outside. Both of these cars taking up a postage stamp on the track. It's almost motorcycle racing. And it's a look back to the inside for Johnny B. Times are getting a little bit desperate now. This could be the first win of the season for the Curb Clippers. This could be the first win for MVRC. Either way, somebody is going to be going home with the big points and prizes. And it's another big slide for BM. I wonder if those tyres are starting to cry enough. Apparently the drop-off on these tyres is not too bad, but that doesn't mean there's not a drop-off. And Johnny B is smelling a bit of blood in the water now. This could be a fight for the victory. 2 minutes and 17 left. It will be the last lap next time around. That's the only time that Johnny B really needs to be leading this race, is in that final straight. Has he got an idea, a plan, some way of keeping the getting the MVRC driver behind him and keeping him there? Still the closest battle on the race here, apparently, even though two cars just changed position. Honestly, what do we install you for? Erwin takes the 5th position. That's points away from AMSU. That's points away from SRGP. And the Independents will claim another victim in the course of this race. Meanwhile, battle over 7th position. Frano to the outside, Statue to the inside. Statue finally getting the better of Andy Moore and Frano for the AMSU team. The SSR car holding it very, very tightly. And I believe that is the fight well and truly over. Pete M has fallen back. There's been a mistake by Pete M. It has to be either in turn 1 on the Mercedes Arena, and this is suddenly everything on its head. This will be the last lap of the race. Johnny B to the lead of the race. PM with a 9/10 gap to overcome. Racilla is a fairly safe, he says, bet for the final step of the podium for AMSU. A brilliant showing for AMSU. And Zolfo D. Carazada have made a miscalculation on their fuel. That's going to be 2 free positions for Raptrenel. But heartbreak in the closing stages of this race on the final lap. Pete M makes the only mistake that we've seen from him this entire race, and it's going to be Johnny B for Curb Clippers in the end, who possibly, maybe, fingers crossed and toes as well, maybe can hold it together to the end of this race. Where are the leaders? They're in the final sector now. I don't think these positions are going to change between Tinners and Tex unless Tinners gets it very wrong. There's not a lot of tyre left there, but it's around the final corner for Johnny B. It's been a momentous climb for Johnny B. From an early pit stop, strategy call to the race win, and a first win of the season for Curb Clippers. Second will be PM for MVRC. AMSU will take third position home in the form of Racezilla there. Michel Germoni led for so long and wasn't able to seal the deal. In the end, Irwin will be the first of the independents to take the checkered flag statue. What a recovery to 7th position for SSR. Andy Moore, a beautiful car and a beautiful drive from start to finish to 8th position. Tinez will hold off the intentions of Tex from the Curb Clippers for 9th, and Tex himself will round out the top 10, and a little bit of breakdancing for good effect. Cephalor will take the 11th position home with him. 12th in quite close contention will be Carapau. Blue Fear was so quick in the early stints, but just fell off in the latter stages of the race. 13th position for him. Linus Falamento with the potential of a penalty hanging over his head. We do obviously try and encourage the drivers to solve things gentlemanly. We'll see how that goes. Zolfo D, again, massive amounts of... And all of my positions have gone. Great, thanks. Massive amount of talent for the RRC car, but not able to seal the deal at the end of the day. Raptor 16th, up from, I believe, 20th or so in the early stages of the race. Brilliant race for him. Chrissy H, running as an independent on this occasion. Nanny Rat will cross the line in 18th. Roy 33, NL will, I believe, be the final of our drivers. Carazada has gone into the pits and will stay there for the final lap. Give me just a moment to do some typing. Whoa. There we go. This is how we do it. And hopefully I will be joined in just a few moments by at least the top 3. I'm sure Racezilla is going to want to have some kind of conversation about the course of that race. That was an incredible display there. As what I'm also going to need to do, thinking about it, is take a very quick picture of the standings so that we don't get too confused. So, as we went through at the very top, once they started coming across the line, Johnny B with a impressive 3rd to 1st over the course of the last 55 minutes. PM started in 2nd, stayed in 2nd, but it makes it a British 1-2 at the Nurburgring. Italian 3-4 for AMSU and RRC in the form of Racezilla and Michel Gimeroni. I'm going to apologise profusely if Michel does arrive here and explain that that's not how you say their surname. Irwin, the first of the independents. Irwin does actually belong, I'm sure, to... Yeah, he's part of the AMSU team. So, ironically, an AMSU driver taking points off of some of the other AMSU drivers that were in the session, although... Oh, yeah, no, it was Tex. So, nothing too important there. Just missed the opportunity to take points off of Gimeroni and the RRC team, but that will be all she wrote as far as that's concerned. Mr. J Turn has joined the room. Does he want to speak to us, though? Oh, god damn it. Come on. There we go. Yep, there we go. Hello. How's it going, mate? You have. But no,
I'm here and you asked me to speak, so I'll say hello.
It's okay.
Hello.
It's okay. You're always welcome here. Let's face it. As the brainchild behind AMS2 Community Cup, and the one who has put countless hours worth of work into this, my understanding is you had internet issues, but how was that for a round one?
For me, it was really good. I didn't particularly perceive any internet issues, but I did hear people talking of lag and stuff. I had a spin on lap one about 4 or 5 corners in, was back in P20 out of 24, and I finished in P2. So I am very happy with that.
Well, that is one hell of a story. Go and tell it to the people who are actually...
I will do. I will hop onto server one, though, and tell them to come and talk to you. So I shall hopefully you'll get a few people in a second.
I did already ping them. Cheers, bud. Ah, the voice of AMS2 Community Cup. We love to speak to Jay. Jay's lovely. What I also need to do now is, while we're here, hopefully it's not going to run away and be a... I can't remember what AMS2 does. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. Ah, there we go. It is.
Hello.
It is your winner for the first round of the AMS2 Community Cup, Johnny B. It's been a while, hasn't it, mate?
Well, I don't think I've actually ever won an AMS2 CC race, as a certain teammate basically took all the clean sweeps other than Dan, I think. So yeah, a first competitive victory in the AMS2 CC.
Yeah, and competitive is the word. How much work was it trying to keep that car together for a whole 55 minutes, let alone get any pace out of it?
Well, so I had this weird epiphany in the middle of the middle of the race where I suddenly realised I was absolutely just hitting the brake too hard.
Oh.
And as soon as I backed off of that a little bit, everything got more composed, just the entry was smoother, I was able to get the nose in much more comfortably.
Yep.
So everything then sort of relaxed and got a bit easier. And yeah, certainly towards the end of the race, and in fact what led to Pete's downfall was I could see him sort of backing it into turn one.
Yep.
And I was able to just keep that car just a little bit more composed and get down the inside for him.
Yep.
Which, was slowing up just enough that I could keep up towards the end. But I think if he had a bit of clean air, he'd have just driven away from me.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those really difficult classes of car to race with any real confidence. It's one of those. It's one of those cars where you have to you want to be in the pack because you need the aero effect, right? But you also don't want to be in the pack because you don't want to have you don't want to have people close to you.
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw. So I went in a completely different way with my gearbox in that I basically thought, right, off the start and off the pit stop, I'm going to have a short first gear, and then because of that, it meant that my fourth gear and third gear gap was slightly larger.
Yep.
So as you saw sort of towards the end of that, through the third sector, he could pass me again by the time we got to the kink, just because he had that much more power.
Yep.
But it meant that, so I'd given up a little bit there. So basically I needed to keep in his toe, otherwise I couldn't catch back up to him. But he could easily repass me, whereas I couldn't actually pass him down the straight.
I see.
But yeah, they're kind of weird cars in that when you're racing them closely, it's quite easy to judge how to be quicker than the car ahead of you.
Yeah.
But when you're in isolation, because there's so little power and so skinny tyres, it's kind of difficult to actually work out how quickly you should be going to corners.
Yep.
And it's so easy to just scrub it off too much. And then you you can lose half a second just by going in just slightly too quickly and needing to rotate that little bit more than you ideally would do.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, you've been ever so slightly low on volume while I try and sort everyone else out. But yeah, so pack racing, open wheel formula cars, worth it?
I was very nervous, if I'm honest. Coming out of qualifying, I think I was down in 7th or 8th. And yeah, I thought we'd be absolutely swallowed and there'd be a couple of hairs. Yeah, I don't quite know how my start was quite as good as it was compared to everyone else. I got the tip from Lozzie's stream in the practice race that basically you just nailed the throttle, but I guess everyone else just had slightly longer gearing than I did.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you changed the gear ratio specifically to give you that launch.
Well, no, so I actually just stuck with what the default was.
Oh, okay.
I think the time trial setups had slightly longer gearing, or a longer first gear and then shorter fourth.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But it worked through. And
semi-miraculously.
I say one of the things I loved about it was that you dropped out of you pitted fairly early, didn't you?
No. So I had a delightful headset issue where it realigned my axis about 30-40 degrees to the right, just as we were coming out of the end of sector 1, so it coming down the hill, which is why I suddenly exited stage right, and got back a decent bit. So I was mirroring them. So I pitted a lap later than Michelle and the same lap as Pete.
That was it, yeah.
But I think I just got my fuel numbers right, possibly because, I gained about 6-7 seconds on him in the stop.
Yep. But it was one hell of a strategic win, and bringing yourself back into the fight like that is, well, I was waxing lyrical about it. I always like to see a race that is won on strategy, not pace. If that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I think it's.
Sorry.
I can't quite remember whose video it was, but I remember a while back just coming across a guy talking about it on iRacing and saying that we spend hours pounding around the track trying to cut half a second off.
That's it.
But no one practices the pit lane.
Yep.
And there you can lose 5 seconds easy.
Yeah. Every time, second you're not moving is a second that you've just lost.
Exactly. And it's literally just free time. So
yeah, exactly.
Always pays to have it nailed down.
Yep. 100%. Words of wisdom from your race winner for the first time out for the first split. Well, we'll have to find out how the second server went, because that seems to be they seem to be having quite a time, let's say. Thank you very much, Johnny, and congratulations for taking that first win. Hopefully, more fights to come in the near future.
Absolutely.
Next into the comms box, and the leader for a large majority of the race, you've got to say, Mr. PM, first time speaking to you. Hello, nice to meet you.
Hello there, nice to meet you.
How was your race from your perspective then? You heard Johnny talking about how he was being very cerebral about what was going on during the course of that race, and how he had to think about it and change his strategy, and things went wrong. How was your race?
I would say my race was reasonably okay. I think Johnny summed it up pretty well in as much as it was really easy to be comfortable when you were the trailing car, but when you got in front it was really hard to make a break for it. Yeah,
absolutely. And it was the tiniest of mistakes in the end that cost you the victory. How hard are these cars to drive consistently?
Oh, they're very hard. They're on a knife edge all the time. If you overshoot your braking point by a few meters, you find yourself disappearing out the other side of the corner. So quite often conservative a little bit on the way in, just to try and make sure you get the apex. Now that clearly never worked very well on the last lap.
No, absolutely. But hey, if it's you managed a whole hour to have it fail on just the final lap, as disappointing as it is, it's damn impressive to keep the car in check for that long.
Yeah, it was a good race overall. It's just unfortunate, like you say, last lap, not enough time to try and catch back up and have another go. And yeah, Johnny summed it up as well when talking about the pit stop. I think I had about 5.5 litres overfueled but then also lost a bit of time on the way in and the way out. I couldn't tell whether my pit limiter was engaged or not, so I just had to go like 75. Yeah, just try and make sure to stay under the 100.
That's it. But hey, it's still really, really good points for MVRC. Really good opener for the championship, and obviously with the way that the allotments are going this season, you could have an entirely different race next time out. So make the most of it. It's still a good podium. Fantastic points for MVRC, and hopefully we'll see you again, or get to speak to you again in a couple of weeks for round 2.
Yep, cheers and well done, Johnny. Great race.
Yeah, absolutely. Good race, great race to yourself as well. Last into the com box, we have our first AMSU driver, and very, very competent and confident and aggressive. No, you weren't aggressive, were you? Racilla joins me, finalist of our podium tonight. How was your race? Ooh, you got no mic. Are you on push to talk, man? Oh, there we go. All right.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can just about hear you. If you can crank some volume in, it would be appreciated.
Okay.
Groovy. So, walk us through your race. How was it for yourself? We were keeping eyes on the AMSU drivers, but it was yourself that came out on top from what looked like an early pit stop, and some running in clear air that gave you the position in the end.
For the first part of the race, I was following my teammate Frano.
Yep.
And I was just basically, I didn't expect to end up in this position. So basically, I tried to stay relatively in clean air until the moment it wasn't as much as an early pit stop as it looked.
No.
I basically pitted at the last possible moment. Frano in front of me pitted at the time I had my pit request,
Mhm.
and then I basically skipped the lap to avoid wasting time in the pits.
Of course.
And I pitted the next lap basically, but throughout the race I tried to save as much fuel as possible because I had a very good tip from my boss, let's say, Jim. Congratulations props to him for organizing this event. He is a terrific organizer.
Totally agree.
For me, the last part was particularly tense because Michele, that's the pronunciation, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Were you listening to the live stream?
It's understandable, but yeah, Michele kept me honest.
Michele, yeah.
For the last part of the race.
Yeah.
I was basically tense. I have made a little calculator in SimHub to manage my fuel, so I wasn't particularly sure if I was gonna end up with the right amount, so I kept saving throughout the whole race. And at the end, it turned out to be a successful strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it worked incredibly well. You should absolutely be proud of yourself. And again, keeping one of the fastest drivers on the track behind you, even if it was through strategy. Like, you managed that gap to perfection. You got to the checkered flag, and I mean, absolutely brilliant work to get to that point. So congratulations again. Really important to have a good start to the race. AMSU has clearly got that with yourself. I'm sure Jay will be ruining the fact that it was Tex and not Tinners that was representing AMSU tonight. But we can move forward to round 2. Hopefully, a bit of confidence, being able to extract the lap time and use strategy as well. Really, really well done, Racer. You have a lovely rest of your evening now.
Thank you, mate. Bye.
No worries. Have a good one. We'll get Mr. J into the room once again to allow him to have the final word. So you've listened to all of the the second server stories and that sort of thing. We all happy still with how round 1 went?
Very much so. I've not caught up yet with what you guys managed on server 1, but you sound like you had a pretty good time. So yeah, very happy with how it went at the moment, and we'll catch up with watching your stream. And massive thank you, Ike, for the broadcasting. You soloed it in here. I'm sure you've done an absolutely sterling job, and thank you to everybody who's watched as well. It's always appreciated. Having the commentary, having that external camera just makes it something special. So really appreciate it.
Absolutely, and I've got to admit, it's been so much easier than it was last time, having all of the faff and everything. Being able to have the direct information coming from AMS made such a difference. And let's say it again, as we say as always. Reza, if you're watching, please give us the information that we need to be able to manage broadcasts properly. This was
that would be very nice. Very nice when they get to working on those features.
Absolutely. But with all of that said and done, would you like to say goodbye?
I will do. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you again in 2 weeks' time for some more great racing.
Fantastic. Remember to be excellent to each other, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.